Hello YouTube, and welcome to the very first KingMidasStyle tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own MLG or NBA style logo using GIMP. So open up a new image 415 by 160. Now the first thing we're going to do is create a background. So select your gradient tool and take a foreground color of a dark gray like I have selected and a lighter gray, and the gradient on FG to BG and the shape on linear, and just stroke straight down. And then we're going to come over to our layers dialog, and if you do not have this, just click on this little arrow and click add layer or add tab and then click layers. And we're going to create a new layer, and we're going to take our square select tool, and we are going to, with the mode, make sure the mode is set on replace the current selection, and just make a selection near the center of your image like this. Now we're going to come down to rounded corners, and we're going to round the corners by a radius of 23, and take your fill bucket tool with a foreground color of white and just click on the inside of your selection and hit select none, and this will make our background for our logo. So now what we're going to do is open up our image that we want inside of the logo. And now that you have your image opened up, I have a picture of a soldier from the cover of Modern Warfare 2. You can use whatever you want, but this is just what I decided to do. So take your scale tool and just scale your image down, but be sure to this is checked, little chain, and just scale your image way down until it will fit on the inside. Alright, so now that you have your image scaled, make sure that you have the top of the image touching as close as you can to the top of the white layer, and the bottom as close to the bottom as you possibly can. And what we're going to do to make sure that there's no overlay is go over to your white layer and just hit alpha to selection, then come up to select, invert, and then go to your image that you just added and just hit delete, and then go select none, and this will just get rid of any overlay. So the next thing we're going to do is make color, or add color to the logo. So create a new layer on top of your white layer, and alpha to selection on the white layer, and go to your new layer and take your rectangle select tool and turn off rounded corners, and then select the mode intersect with current selection, and just select the left side of your image. And what this will do is just take from your old selection, it will take whatever you selected with it, and it will get rid of anything you didn't select, if that helps at all. So take a dark blue as your foreground and a lighter blue as your background, and take your gradient tool with it set to FG to BG again, and stroke up on your selection and hit select none, and this will just put a nice blue to the left side, just like the MLG logo. Now create another new layer and alpha to selection on your white layer again, and then take your square select tool set on intersect and select the right half of your image, and then take the foreground color of a light red and a background color of an even lighter red, and take your gradient tool and stroke up on this side and hit select none. Alright, so now that you have this general, these colors, you don't have to have these colors, it's just for the sake of MLG style I'll just make it this, but you can make whatever colors you want. Go to your white layer and just delete that, and then merge your blue layer by right clicking and clicking merge down, and you'll have the blue layer and the red layer together. Now what we're going to do is make this guy completely white. So we're going to alpha to selection on your image and take a foreground color of white, and take your fill bucket tool and fill whole selection as your affected area, and just come up here and just click on your selection and then hit select none, and you'll just have your image being completely white. And I missed a little bit of it, so I think I'm just gonna move over. You don't want your red or blue touching each other, so, or your two colors touching each other at all, because that kind of ruins the effect. So you can just merge your image from, and well, together with the rest of the logos, so you have this whole thing as one big logo, or one big layer. So the next thing we're going to do is create a shadow, or a drop shadow. So duplicate this layer, and on the layer, on the bottom layer, alpha to selection, and take your fill bucket tool with the foreground color set to black, and just fill that selection in. Take your black layer and go filters, blur, and go Gaussian blur, and blur it by 20 pixels, and you'll get this nice little shadow to the edge of it. So, and we're just going to move that over down into the right a little bit, just to kind of give it some kind of a lighting effect. And there you go. There you have a nice little shadow. So the next thing we're going to do is take our text tool and select white as our text color, and select the font sans, and just make it down here, and you can type in whatever you want, whatever the theme is to your logo. Just type in, I'm going to type in Modern Warfare 2 because that's kind of the theme I'm going for here, and just make the size smaller until you can see all the text in your image. So now that you have this, go to that layer and alpha to selection on it, and create a new layer right below it, and we're just going to make another shadow like we did last on the big layer. Now that you have your shadow behind your text on the bottom, go over to the text tool again and select the font Faucet. This is the closest font I could find to the actual MLG font, so I'll have the link in the description where you can download it, and just type in an abbreviation for whatever you wrote on the bottom. So for example, make sure this layer is actually, the text layer is on top of everything else, so you can actually see it, because I got confused there for a second. So just make an abbreviation for whatever you wrote on the bottom here. So for like Modern Warfare 2 would be MW2. And once you have that positioned where you want it, you are pretty much done. There's the final product. Here's my original one. Well, thank you for watching, comment and subscribing and everything.